Hello everybody, this is Sherry from dgsundry.blogspot.com, and today I'm going to be making a card for a friend, and I'm also making this, today is a super simple Sunday challenge over at the gettingcricky.com, and the challenge for today is to make a card using any hot beverage. Now my friend lives in a different state and I haven't seen her in probably almost 2 years, and I just wanted to send this card to her. And I'm going to try to make it into a gift card holder. So the first thing that I'm going to use is lyrical letters. Now usually when I use lyrical letters, it's just for the letters and numbers itself, but today I'm going to be using a coffee figure from that. It's on page 66 and it's using the loop-de-loo button on the lyrical letters cartridge, and I cut it, the coffee in the frame, at 4 inches, and I'll show that to you in a minute. Let me show you what else we're going to be needing. The pattern paper I'm using is from the Trade Winds Matte Stack from Die Cuts with a View, and I have chosen this kind of rusty burnt color pattern paper here. So that's what I'm going to be using for my pattern paper. For my card base, I'm going to be using this cream color from this Cypress stack. Now I just picked this up at Robert's for about $4, unless I may have even purchased it on sale. But I'm just going to be using 1 sheet of that cardstock, but I am cutting it a little bit differently, so watch out for that. I'm also going to be using this pipe nylon ribbon from Martha Stewart Crafts, and it's in brick color, and it's a narrow ribbon, but it's a pretty good match to my paper. I'm going to be using a couple of different inks. I'm going to be using Ice Spruce Distress ink. Now this is one of the new Christmas Distress limited edition inks. And then I'm also going to be using Rusty Hinge as a good match. I have my Tombow Mono here, or my Tombow adhesive, and then I'm going to be using the Scallop Sentiment punch from Fiskars. And last but certainly not least, I am going to be using this stamp set from K. Andrew Designs, Coffee and Tea for You and Me. Now, again, as I mentioned, this is for the super simple Sunday challenge, and I'm going to be combining 2 of these mix and match phrases, Miss You and a latte, and I'm going to be using that to make my card for my friend. So I will put a link to this if you're interested in this particular set of stamps. This is a really nice set of stamps, and you are able to get it at the K. Andrew Designs website, and so I'll put a link for that in my blog post. So let's get started on it. Now the first thing that I did is I cut this paper a little differently than you would normally cut it. I actually cut it at 5.5 inches by 11 inches, and the reason why is because by folding it, I'm going to turn it into a gift card holder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let's see, I think let's score it here at 4 1/4, and then I'm going to score it again at 8.5. Now this is going to leave me a few inches on one side, and that's perfect. So basically when I'm done, I will still have my 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card. So let me grab a different bone folder here, set the scoreboard aside, and we'll get this folded. So I'm going to score here, or fold here at the 4 1/4, and then we'll fold it back at 8.5. Now I could just fold it this way and go with that, but what I want to do is I actually want to turn it so that the fold is on the front flap, and I'm going to slide my gift card in here, and we will work with that in a few minutes. But let's work on the front of the card first. So I cut 2 pieces of my image. The first one I use white, just something, a scrap from my stash, and I'm actually going to put that on the base. Now I know that doesn't match, but we're going to have fun with that. And then the second one I cut using the pattern paper. Now, I only want the coffee cup itself for my pattern paper. So what I'm going to do is I am going to trim off the frame. So I'm just going to do that here and just kind of trim off the frame. I also don't want my steam from the top of the card, so I'll trim that off and trim off the frame there. And for now, I may change this here, but for now I'm just going to trim right there. And then we'll come over here and kind of trim there. And turn it upside down, trim here. Again, once I get this adhered, I may change it and trim more off. It'll just depend on how it looks. So now I just have the coffee cup and I have gotten rid of everything else. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to do some distressing on this. I wanted to make the little swirl here look like steam. So that's where my ice spruce distress ink is going to come in. And I am just going to ink that swirl. Now I'm not too worried if I get it on the coffee cup, because the coffee cup's not going to show anyway, because I will layer my pattern paper over the top of that. So I'm mostly concerned about making sure that I get the swirl or the steam without getting the frame, because I don't want to get the frame, because I'm going to do the same with the frame using the rusty hinge. And again, it doesn't matter if it gets into the coffee cup, because that will all be covered anyway. So, and I'm using my Ranger craft mat here so that I can clean it up in a bit and not have to worry about it. So that's all done there. And now, just before I get too far into the card and while I still have my inks out, I want to do the same to my card front. I just want to blend some ink in there and just give it some nice, just a soft edging so that it will coordinate in. Okay. Simple, simple. And now we're all done with that. Let me grab something and wipe off my mat here so that I don't get that all over my card. So now we're ready to start putting our card together. So I'm going to grab some a glue pen here. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to layer my coffee cup to the frame. And I'm just going to use my Tombow snail, or the runner, to do that. There aren't really that many. Oh, guess I'm not. I'll use my ATG. Time to refill that. There aren't really any small pieces in this, so I don't need, at this point yet, I don't need my glue pen, but I will on another area of the card. I'll just tuck that back behind any adhesive that I have coming out over the edge of the card that I don't want to show. And I want to be sure and do that before I adhere it to the frame, because I've learned the hard way, once it's adhered, it's more difficult to get that extra adhesive off of the image where you don't want it to be seen. So we'll do that right there. And now we'll just layer up our cup. And you know, I don't believe that we are going to need any more trimming. So that's all good. Now when I'm layering this on top, I actually am going to layer it near the top of the card because I want to save the bottom for my sentiment. Now this one I will need to use my glue pen. But before I do that, let's go ahead and move on to the inside. I think I'm going to use this piece. It coordinates but it's not the exact same. And I think rather than scallop, well, I'm going to go ahead and scallop the edge. This one for some reason seems quite firm. I haven't used it very often, and so it's a new punch. Maybe it just needs some more use on it. It would probably help if I turned it upside down, but this one's just sturdy enough. I don't know that I can turn it upside down successfully. And let's see, let's go about, I think I'll cut about a 1/2 to 3/4 inch piece. Maybe I'll cut a 1/2 inch piece here. Not big, just to give it a little bit of interest. And again, we'll use our ATG to attach that down. And I want to go right along the edge because I don't want extra in there. And let's just line it up. Just like so. Good. Then we'll just trim this off right here. And then I want to adhere it, and I want to adhere it on either end here, just like this. And I think I'm going to go with 2 rows of tape, just so that my gift card will fit in there and not have quite as much room to slide around, just like that. And then my gift card will slide in right here. I'll probably slide it in just like that. So, but I'll set that aside, and let's finish up the card. So now the next thing I need to do is prepare my main image to the front. And as I mentioned, I will want to use my glue, or I could use quick dry. I don't really want to deal with quick dry right now, but this will work really well. Okay, and I'll just go around using this zig pin and just go around the edges of my box. Now, you do want to move fairly quickly, just not too quickly that you mess up, but you need to move quickly enough that it doesn't start to dry. And then I also want to go on my swirl here. Just like so. Okay. And we'll center this near the top, as I mentioned before. And there we go. Now normally for my ribbon, I would cut a slit in it and go across, but that may interfere. No, I think I will do it that way after all. I was thinking it would interfere with my gift card, but I have enough give where that gift card's going that I should be just fine. Before I do that though, I want to go ahead and stamp my image. So again, I'm going to use the rusty hinge, and I'm going to ink up my image, or my stamp, really well, where it says "Miss You a Latte." This is the first time I've used this particular stamp. And I'm going to come right up, center it right about there. Just like so. Excellent. And then we're going to want this right there. So I'm just going to trim just a little bit right here. Just enough off that I can run my ribbon through. been using this ribbon quite a bit this fall, so I'm almost out of it. But it's perfect for fall. And just run this across. And I think I'm going to actually bring the bow a little bit over to the side here. Right about there. Okay, so I'm back. Finally got the bow tied. I will admit I cheated a little bit and did some glue to help glue down my ribbon a little bit. But here's our card, Miss You a Latte. And I will be getting that to my friend. I'm just going to stick this little gift card in there. We can't have coffee together, but she can have coffee and think of me. So thanks for watching and have a great Sunday. So I wanted to show you a quick variation of the card that I did, and this time I used the Latte matte stack, and this is also from Die Cuts with a View, and it's full of blues and purples. I bought it for the purples and greens. Those are mostly the colors in it, the blues and the purples and the greens, but it's a really nice matte stack. So I used that, and I used the same coffee cup that I showed earlier. Again, cut it 4 inches, but this time I cut it out of a purple solid, and then the cup itself I cut out of this little floral print. I trimmed it just like I did earlier on the video, and then I changed the stamp out. Instead of saying Miss You a Latte, I put Love You a Latte. And this time also, instead of tying a big bow, I just tied a little knot bow. I also corner rounded the edges because on the inside I did not put a place for a gift card. This I just added just to add an extra punch of color to the inside of the card. Now the green paper is some green from a recollection stack from Spice Market, and it's just some I had left over. So I also corner edged this piece here just so the corner would match and so that it all coordinates. And so this is a variation of the earlier card, and so you can see how versatile the Cricut cartridge is, and how just a few simple changes of color can completely change your card and your layout. And then how versatile the stamps are, and how easy it was to go from the Miss You a Latte in the earlier one that I did to the Love You a Latte. So thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.